St. Louis, we got a really special episode here for you today. We got to talk with Tyler and Chris over at Vetta Sports. Vetta is a staple in the St. Louis community and has been serving St. Louis families since 1988. Been super cool. I bet everybody listening to this has a memory at Vetta if you're from St. Louis, if you grew up there playing sports, or maybe you play in an adult league now, or even play pickleball over there. So got to chat with them and got to learn a little bit more about the story behind Vetta, some of the programs they offer, and the impact that they have here in St. Louis. So enjoy the show. What's up, St. Louis? It's your host, Luke Farrell of the STL Bucket List Show. The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bomarito Automotive Group. Bomarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership with over 20 locations, so I guarantee that there's one in your neighborhood. Since the 1970s, Bomarito has sold over 1 million cars, and John and the entire team made us feel completely comfortable when we picked up our new vehicle recently for the family. So I can't thank the Bomarito team enough for driving this episode forward, and enjoy the show. For 50 years, Bankhead and Firth Orthodontics has been proudly serving the vibrant St. Louis community. As a family-owned and operated practice since day one, the commitment to excellence and personalized care runs deep. They believe in giving back to the wonderful people of St. Louis who have entrusted them with their smiles. Step into the 5 locations across St. Louis with modern offices equipped with the latest orthodontic technology. Their 3 amazing doctors are dedicated to providing top-notch, innovative treatments tailored just for you. Join us in celebrating 50 years with Bankhead and Firth Orthodontics, where your family becomes a part of theirs. Schedule your free consultation today and let them help you achieve the confident, gorgeous smile that you deserve. Because in St. Louis, your smile is your legacy.
Hey St. Louis, Birch Tree Recovery is the newest outpatient mental health and substance use recovery resource in St. Louis. Birch Tree is truly doing it differently. Our science-based humanistic approach, along with a talented team of clinical professionals, will ensure that your time with us is life-changing. Birch Tree's approach to treatment is rooted in research and data. We reject any judgment and shame that may exist and challenge you to live the life you deserve, free of labels and stigma. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, call us. We can help.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune in to the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on, they'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
What's up, St. Louis? It's your host, Luke Farrell of the STL Bucket List Show. We're back with another episode highlighting the people, places, and events that make St. Louis special. We've been putting on this show now for 140 episodes each and every week, and it's cool to get to talk to some of the people that make St. Louis special. I got to shout out our partners over at First Community Credit Union. Four Hands Brewing Company have been with us since the beginning. Bomarito Automotive Group, John, Chuck, and the entire team over at Bomarito helped put our family in a new car as new parents. So they've been a blessing to us. And then, of course, Birch Tree Recovery and Bankhead and Firth Orthodontics. Thank you guys for continuing to make this show possible. So without further ado, I got some new friends in the studio. Vetta, as you guys know, if you're listening to this and you're from St. Louis, you've probably played there over the years. We got Tyler and Chris from Vetta. Thank you guys for coming in today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Chris, do you prefer
fun to be here.
Chris?
Chris is good.
Okay. Well, first I want to start off by reading a little bit about Vetta, and then we can kind of get into some of those stories. So Vetta Sports was founded in 1988 with the mission of providing high-quality sports programs and facilities to the St. Louis community. Initially starting with indoor soccer, Vetta quickly expanded to offering tennis, volleyball, fitness programs, and more, becoming a multi-sport hub for youth and adults. Over the years, Vetta has grown significantly and now operates multiple locations across the area. As of today of this recording, you guys have 11 locations, 2 in Concord, St. Charles, Manchester, Vetta 70, the Soccerdome, Vetta Racquet Sports West, Vetta Sunset, Game Time, Woodlands, and now the Front Neck Racquet Club. So I know that was a lot for everybody to hear, but Chris, we can start with you. I mean, you first of all, tell us how long you've been there, and tell us what that growth has looked like over the last years.
I started working for Pete Spanos at the Soccerdome in 1988. I was reffing and coaching, and then when I was old enough to serve alcohol, I was bartending, and just kind of maintained a relationship there part-time. In 95, I joined full-time. A couple years after that, Pete's brother John joined the business, with him as well. Started expanding into multiple locations. Bought Concord, bought what was Westchester Tennis and Sports. That's now called Vetta Sports Manchester. And then 2000 built our first place from the ground up, which was Vetta St. Charles, which is actually in Cottleville. We kind of been in and out of town over the years with multiple facilities, either turnaround projects or opportunities like that. And we just continue to expand and grow our portfolio into the locations that we have today. And our most recent purchase was back in August. We bought Frontenac Racquet Club, and right now we're operating it as Frontenac Racquet Club, and we'll eventually kind of mesh it in with everything else. So
It's a good name. I like that, Frontenac Racquet Club.
yeah,
It's
Just
got a
sounds
good tradition and history
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. It's a unique place for sure.
Wow. So 1988, you were working part time. So were you an athlete too, or
Yeah,
were you,
I played two sports in college. I went to Harris-Stowe in the city.
Okay.
I grew up in the city right off the hill, and I played baseball and soccer in college. And
Nice.
so just like every other kid, just worked, and
Yeah.
those are my part-time gigs, and kept playing sports. I played at Vetta. I met my wife at Vetta. I've met a million people at Vetta.
That's
So,
amazing. So you found your
yeah.
way back, and then so Tyler, what about you? You've been there for a long time as well.
Well,
haven't you?
see, 1988, I was 6 years old, so I was not at Vetta yet. But I started in 2002. My roommate in college had a interview at Vetta, and I ended up tagging along with him just to ride and see this place that he said was so cool, and indoor fields, indoor facilities. I ended up getting the job. He ended up turning it down, so that worked out well for me. And I've been there ever since. So this spring will be 22 years. All right, it was 22 years actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been around. I've done soccer coaching. I've done some basketball. I've done a lot of our marketing, summer camps, program development, just a little bit of everything through the years.
hmm And just kind of like refine those roles. And I'm sure same with you, Chris. Like when you started, you were slinging beers, and then you came on full time in 1995. So when you came on full time, I mean, this could be a question even for both of you guys. I mean, could you see Vetta having this big of an impact in St. Louis, where it's one of probably like up there with one of the strongest brands in the city? When you think of Budweiser, you think of all these other brands that are in St. Louis, Vetta is up there with one of those brands now.
I think at the time we're pretty young,
Yeah.
25 years old, trying to figure out what's next. I was working for a company. I was actually working for a Fortune 500 company downtown, and I remember the conversation with the boss at that place saying, "Hey, I'm gonna resign. I'm not gonna take this transfer to Chicago for more money, and I'm gonna go work for an indoor soccer facility."
Yeah.
And she looked at me like, "There's something wrong with you." And it was the best move I made.
Yeah.
But in '95, we weren't even Vetta yet. We were the Soccerdome. We had one location. And a couple years later, we realized, we started to look at, all right, we have multiple locations. We need a brand. We need to align, underneath a brand. And the owners are Greeks. There's a lot of wordplay with different names and things like that that came into play. And we settled on Vetta. I remember it rhyming with Jetta. It was easy to make it work. So,
Yeah.
but to think it would grow into where we are today, I don't know if any of us ever really thought of it that way. We just enjoyed what we were doing, wanted to keep doing what we were doing, and just kept bringing people along and building the business as we went. So because we've had fun doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where all good things start. So you guys both took a job there as a kid. Is there something about the culture there that made you guys stick? Because there's a lot of jobs out there that you could on the outside be more successful, but sometimes it's about, building a culture and something that you want to be around.
Well, I think aside from being able to wear mesh shorts to work some days,
Every day.
that was a big plus or a big perk when I started. But the biggest thing through the years for me has been my ability to be creative with my job. And it's never the same, day after day. It's always something new. We've always got new projects and things. And I'm a very creative person, I think you could say. And so, a little bit. It's one of the nicer things people could say. So for me, it was just being able to use my talents in that way.
Yeah.
And I love seeing people have a positive experience through sports. When I was a kid, I had terrible, soccer experience when I was 3 or 4 playing in a field somewhere. Everybody's parents were volunteers for the soccer team.
Yeah.
You're bit up by mosquitoes. It's not great scenario. And then coming into this and getting to see people, have fun with it and enjoy it, and just the positivity has always been a driving force for me in that.
Yeah.
I think you spoke about culture. We don't compromise on culture with our full-time team. Our part-time team. It's a big deal to us because you don't go out and say, "Hey, everybody, here's our core value, here's our culture." No, you have to build it, you have to show it, and then people align with that. They want to come be a part of businesses that make them feel a certain way,
Yeah.
have a certain connectivity to them, and I think we've taken that responsibility seriously for years, and it's taken a long time to develop that. Kind
Mhm.
of like developing a brand, very very similar in that regard.
Mhm.
And one of the things we take seriously is hiring our part time high school students and college students. We'd love to be everybody's first job or their second job because we
Mhm.
feel like we teach a lot of good skills. We introduce them to things that they probably wouldn't learn on their own. Try to because they're not always going to all work for us. I mean, not we don't have a role for everybody forever,
Mhm.
but we do want to play a part in their development and hopefully when they get to the next place and go do their thing, they've learned something from us along the way. We
Yeah.
take that responsibility seriously as
You
well.
guys have those kids in high school, and then they come back for summer on the college, and then they'll come back again, and then they might work with you while they find their career. But I noticed that just like when we were over at Manchester, some of the staff, like the guy that ran it, was super kind, and then even some of the people that we talked to, like Patrick, who's been there for 33 years as a
Yeah.
ref, and then we talked to one of the young ladies on the team that has been there for 5 years. But like everybody had this unique passion. It wasn't a job, and I think that finding a business that you guys can go to each and every day that doesn't feel like a job. I mean, of course, there are those days that you guys have to work, but there those other days where you get to come on a podcast and talk about it, or you get to
Yeah.
go out and kick the ball around with some of the people. And I mean, a lot of it is not what people see, but I think that like building the culture is hard, and it starts with like you guys who have been there for a long time and bringing people in there and creating that Vetta sports community. But really, at the end of the day, it's about the families.
Yeah.
They come there. So tell us about some of the programming you guys do, because I think that everybody knows Vetta for something different. I mean, everybody knows you guys for
Yeah.
soccer, but tell us about some of those programs for families and then also just adults and everything else that you guys offer.
Yeah, so Vetta Sports means something, like you said, it means something different to everybody.
Mhm.
And it's so funny when I say I work at Vetta, people will say, "Oh, which one?" Or they'll say, "Oh, at the Concord one or at
Yeah.
this one." Like, well, there's 11 locations.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And they don't know that we have programs for 18-month to adults.
Mhm.
So we started 18 months with our Kickaroos, which is a soccer program that focuses on motor skills and child development. We also have our Rackaroos, which is a tennis and racket sports program for 4 to 6-year-olds. We move up through soccer. We have summer camps. We do birthday parties, inline hockey, pickleball, tennis, racquetball, adult soccer leagues. And I think we have adult soccer league players that, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have had people in their 80s and 90s step out on the field before
Couple,
and play. Yeah.
not a lot.
Some
but
Probably
generational
pickleball for sure, though.
Yeah.
pickleball
Definitely
and
that.
soccer.
And soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah.
We have had a team where it was a grandfather, the son, and his grandson all on the same team, all on the same field at the same time. So we've had some magic,
I'm
lightning in
s-
a bottle moments like that.
Right. I'm certain as of last week, we had an 18-year-old playing soccer and we had a 102-year-old playing tennis. Because when we bought Frontenac Racket Club, there's a guy there who plays that's 102 years old. So I think it was pretty cool. We got 84 years worth of people playing sports there. And, I think one of the things, to Tyler's point about what we cater to, it's just that we've got something for everybody, regardless of like their skill level. Most of the people, most of our leagues, most of our stuff is geared towards a recreational player. And then once you've played a little bit and you get a little bit better, then you kind of matriculate with those groups.
Mhm.
We don't aspire to have like the most competitive select teams, the most competitive, leagues around all the time. We just aspire to have a place and a fit for everybody. It's not we're going to turn those folks away, but we're not going to do it at the expense of having something for everybody to have a place to start, get going, learn how to play something, regardless of what that sport is: soccer, pickleball,
Right.
tennis, inline hockey, all
Mhm.
that jazz.
Yeah, and I noticed that. And you even had like rec going on, and then you had leagues going on all on the same night. So you had just open play going and all these different things. But
Yeah.
what would you say makes I kind of want to talk about the adult leagues, so a lot of our listeners here, but what makes is that what makes those leagues stand out? Is the openness to everyone, or is there anything specifically that you would think makes you guys different from other leagues in the area?
Gosh, you know what? The toughest part about adult leagues, I think, is people getting that first foot on the field, because everybody has the same impression where it's, oh, I don't want to go out there and I don't know if I want to play because I don't want to be the worst one on the field or something like that. But they're so welcoming and they're so inclusive, and there's just such a wide variety of skill levels out there that once you start playing and you dip your toes in that water, you just swim. It's just wonderful, because we've got teams that come out and we have college athletes on this team, or maybe somebody who just started playing. And it's boils down to just a group of adults having fun together on the field at the same time.
Yeah, St. Louis is a soccer hotbed. Everybody all over the country knows that. We have more people playing soccer in St. Louis than I would say per capita than many cities. I mean, you might go to big places, Dallas, L.A., like really really big cities, but you look at the percentage of people who play soccer in St. Louis, grew up playing soccer, and then grew up playing at Vetta. It's pretty high. It's not scientific, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good
there.
opinion.
Yeah.
I think the leagues offer a chance for people to get started again. Some of them do. A few years ago we started doing open play where like I don't have I don't have a team to join. I don't know where I'm going to go. All right, come do open play. There's a whole bunch of people like you at your level. Come do open play. So we started a super rec league, which means haven't played in a long time or I've never played before, and these are your people. And then we did an intermediate open play, so it was like a little bit level up. You can kick the ball with both feet and run a little bit. And then there was more competitive open plays. And from that, you found a team to play on, either a house team or you were a guest player or you put your groups together, something along those lines. And so every one of our managers is aware of trying to find a spot for someone, kind of meet them where they are, figure out where the best league is. If we don't have it at one location, we'll try to find it for them at another. And we've developed outdoor over, 10, 12 years of outdoor 8v8 as well to complement our indoor offerings. So we pretty much we got, 5, 6 days a week worth of leagues times 6, 7 locations going pretty much year round. So there's always a spot for somebody, and that's just soccer. Start getting into pickleball, and then it's like, holy cow, man! There's a lot of options for people to get started in pickleball.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said that the managers are actively looking for ways. So, like, let's just say, I'm new here to St. Louis and I'm coming to it's nerve-wracking. Post the pandemic, people are meeting in different ways, and it's like the best way to build community is to get out in front of people. And then when you're getting active, that's why run clubs are blowing up right now too across the country.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that your guys' sport, you're probably seeing data too of like, man, this is what people want to do compared to going to the bar. Why not go to the bar and play sports at the same time?
Right.
And pickleball was like one thing that I don't even know when that came up, but it feels like this last like 4 to 5 years has just blown up, and now
Definitely taken off. Yeah.
that's been a big market for you guys. So on the actual business side of it, and when you guys are looking at, so like you're bringing these programs, these aren't, like you said, just bringing a bunch of kids and charging parents money to have them just kick the ball around. Like you're training programs for them for sensory stuff, for, developmental things. So like you guys are actually finding these programs, bringing them to St. Louis. So tell us a little bit about the Kickaroos, because I know myself, I will be bringing my daughter there when she's 18 months, just for that sensory stuff.
So the Kickaroos program, our curriculum that we utilize was formed for us by a child psychologist, and it covers all the developmental stages that would be important for those children and the skills that they would need at those different steps. So it's not just about soccer. Every parent says, "Oh, my kid plays all the time. They kick the ball around in the backyard." Well, that's great, but let's see how they can do with passing, sharing, coordination. Let's see how they can do with communication with other kids and just being on the same field and existing with other people around them. So it's all those things combined that roll into that Kickaroo program that make it so special. And the best part about it, we run it at multiple locations, and because this curriculum is standardized, it's the exact same. Week 3 of a Kickaroo skippers class is the exact same at Soccerdome as it will be at Manchester, at Concord, or St. Charles. So it's a beautiful program. It's one of my favorite parts of the job is seeing those little guys bouncing around and having fun out there.
It's always been an introduction to sports more than soccer, particularly at the younger ages. And then when kids are ready to play soccer, graduate to like maybe a little bit more scrimmaging, or there's the goal, go score kind of a thing. The kids can graduate into our Vetta ISL program, and I think for all of us, kickers and ISL kind of go hand in hand. Depends on your age group, but ISL's special for all of us because it's a chance for every kid to have a place to play. It's not playing time's equal, game time's equal. We're gonna help out on the field. We're gonna teach kids how to play. If they don't have a team to play on, if they don't have a school team to play on, if they're not ready for club soccer or making bigger commitments, it's the soccer program for every kid that they can take in 8 and 10 week increments and not necessarily have to commit their life to soccer just yet while they're still trying to figure it out.
If it's even a fit.
Yeah, we try to make the games fun. We try to keep the games close. We make sure everybody's playing the same amount. We do instruction on the field. We do all the coaching ourselves. We do all the refereeing ourselves. Everything is in-house. It's a pretty controlled environment. And that program in and of itself is actually the root of Vetta Sports. That's the first program we offered back in 1988. Started with it, and that's it's I would say it's our flagship program, and then we kind of grew into Kickaroos. We introduced that, along the way to get start kids at a younger age.
Well, we had the Sluggaroos at one point where we gave all the 3-year-olds bats.
Yes.
And wiffle ball bats, but yeah.
That was a little tough.
Yeah, we stopped doing that one.
Yeah, hand-eye coordination, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. It was
with bats.
It was mayhem. Yes, chaos and mayhem.
You guys like the ruse, whatever
Racqueroos
ruse.
though. Racqueroos though is good. It's
I do like the
been a
idea
nice
of tennis
program.
for 4 to 6 year olds. I mean, because it's like tennis is a sport that's hard to get into. It's like and that's what you see. It's one.
It's good complementary eye-hand, kind of coordination. Soccer you get this set of skills. Racqueroos you get a different set of skills. I think one of the things that Tyler pointed out was the interaction. The coaches, not only is it great to see coaches learn how to work with kids. We get a lot of education majors that want to come work for us. But then it's also kids at those ages, it's their first introduction to listening to somebody besides mom and dad.
Yeah.
And they have to go here for 45 or 50 minutes, and they got to pay attention to somebody they don't really know, but they kind of develop, and they kind of got to develop this relationship with them. It's like, yeah, that's my coach. I see him out there, and
some mentorship that, like I said, it's just a different. I like that the coaches are in house too, just because you get that. I always played on the kids teams. The dad was the coach, and he'd be batting fourth and pitching every game. It's just how it goes. But nice having that controlled environment. But I want to kind of bounce back to the adult leagues, because I just since this, it was this team specifically. It was one of the CrossFit teams that play together that we mentioned. Like they were just having good energy. I think they were from Eureka. They were having all this fun, and there's teams that have been playing there for years. There's teams that have been playing there for 10 years. I mean, what are some of those success stories? Is there anything specific that you guys can touch on whether it's just like groups that have been together for a long time, maybe people that have started families, got married? Like there's all these different success stories of how these teams kind of interact.
When we had a team once at Manchester that was a house team. So, we put them all together, and I ended up playing on it because they needed extra players. And this was years ago when I was in better playing shape, but it was neat to see. We had people from Las Vegas on that team. We had some people from Seattle on that team. And then we had some people that were from Iowa, just all over, and they were in town for college, or some of them had taken jobs in St. Louis. And this team, even though they've moved back to different areas, I'm still friends with them, and I see them still communicating with each other through the years. So one of the guys left that team. He moved back with his wife up to Washington State, and he's still in communication with our other friend who played on the team, who's now working in Major League Baseball down in Arizona. And it's just neat to see these ties. And we still have a chat group we go back and forth that has all the members on this team that still just talk, and we kind of reminisce and go through those things.
Yeah, that's
so
really
it's neat
cool.
to see, circle back to the community that it builds and you take with you along the way.
Especially that instance of a home team, because you guys are just like, these people are coming to you and you're just placing them.
Well, a lot of people have told us that St. Louis is a little tough because when they're transplants, when they come in, because they don't know how to bridge that gap of meeting new people. And to see something like this, where people from all over the country that you don't know what they have in common with each other than soccer, find that they have commonalities and they become friends that have become lifelong friends.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think a couple other things that stand out to me is, we have a great international community in St. Louis, and soccer is obviously the most international sport on earth.
Oh, yeah.
So on any given night, you could go to Manchester, St. Charles, go to Concord, and you're going to see people from different cultures, either renting the field, playing together, or playing on a league together, playing against different teams, and that's been, that has been a staple since, really since the mid '90s, when we started seeing more populations coming from other countries. Another one that's cool for me is, wasn't too long ago, my 24-year-old and my 19-year-old were playing on an adult team together at a facility, and ended up playing against a bunch of guys that I hadn't played against for 15 years, but there they are, all in the same field, still playing against each other. My playing days have been over for a little while for a few reasons.
So the people that you were playing with,
the people that I was playing against and playing with, are now playing against my kids, and that was like, kind of,
like, take it easy
cool
on them.
and like whatever. No, beat them up. It's all good. No, not at all. It was just fun. It was fun to see that. It's kind of fun to see it right in front of your eyes, and and then of course in that same night, the manager that's working there, I've been working with for 30 years, and the referees that have been there, we've been around for a really long time. So when you start looking around, you're like, man, this and our business and these events have been a staple of our lives. And you can say that about a lot of people in Vetta would have a similar story in that regard.
I think another fun fact, we've had I know of at least 2 weddings that we have hosted on our fields.
Minimum.
Really?
At minimum, at least
Yeah,
2
minimum.
of people that have met through
They
playing
ask
soccer.
you like, I don't think we have a pitch deck for that. Just
They-
whatever you want
yeah,
to do.
that's
you know?
always the weirdest thing
You're
when we
like,
get a
hey,
call.
like,
The hardest thing is trying to figure out how to set that
How
up.
to-
Hey, can we
price it out,
book a
how to set it
wedding?
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how many?
And they think, you know, you've never asked us before. Yeah, we have.
yeah, we've
Yes,
done a
been
couple
asked this one
weddings
before. We've
Yeah.
done a few.
Some-
There's a lot of people who have met
Yeah.
their spouses at Vetta. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's not a few. And of course we've had the weddings and
Yeah.
get-togethers,
bar
and
mitzvahs,
bar
everything.
mitzvahs, birthday parties, social events. You
Mhm.
know, there's one cool thing about all of our buildings is that it's a great place just to get together with people. You know, whether it's a social event, you could do team building activities. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. What was the enterprise thing that Pete did? We had enterprise from all over the world.
They
show
had
up in St. Louis. It was
Enterprise
like
had
a
some kind
soccer
of regional
tournament.
summit or something like
Yeah.
that, and they had all of their different leads from all the different territories put together teams,
Oh,
and they
wow.
all played against each other in a
bunch
mini
of corporate
World
people
Cup. Yeah,
running around
Yeah.
playing,
That was
getting
great.
serious.
And it was intense. I mean, Pete
yeah.
Spanos organized it. Everybody, I mean, they wanted to win. I mean, they're competitive folks. I mean,
Yeah.
Enterprise, competitive company.
Yeah.
And he organized the event. It was at Soccerdome in Webster Groves. All these people came together and had social time as well. But
Yeah.
they had an event. It was this country against that country, and
Yeah.
and they had a blast. And I think they've done that the last few years. I think
Yeah.
we actually flew us down to Miami to help them do one not too long ago,
Oh,
just to
wow.
help them out with it. So
Yeah,
you know, it was-
just to
it
give
was
that
cool.
structure to it.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty
I think
cool.
it's bigger companies are looking for those ways to like not everything's about sitting at your computer. It's like, how
Yeah.
can we get out of the office? Even if it's 8 hours out of the office, it's like that time spent together can help solve issues another day and teamwork. And yeah, that'd be funny to see a bunch of corporate people running around out there. So
we just hosted a pickleball
Taryn.
one as well.
We
where-
did.
Yeah,
We do them all the time. You know, we're one of those companies. We love getting our people together and just kind of like breaking bread and doing a little. You know, it might be a little bit of teaching, a little bit of player development, but it's mostly just connecting with each other. You know,
Yeah.
we do it at least 3 or 4 times a year. It could be a variety of different events that we try to do it with, but it's important to us, and because how in the world can you represent this to other companies and other people if you don't represent it for yourself?
exactly.
So we learn a lot of the things that other people want by doing the stuff ourselves because we know what our people want. So
Right.
it's been really cool.
No, that's amazing. And even for people that just want to come up there that are just like supporting their wife or husband or partner
Yeah.
or whatever, like we met that daughter that was watching her dad and husband play together.
Yeah.
And she used to watch her dad when she was younger. Now she has a kid. Like it's just all these different. You guys have. I mean, 1988 is although it feels like a long time ago, it's not that long ago. I mean, if you
No.
guys are around for another 30. When you're around for
Yeah,
another
thank you.
40,
Yeah, I hope
when,
so.
when
Yeah,
you're
right.
when you're around for another 40, 50, 60 years, you're going to see this spider web of different things that are going to pull out of this. And maybe there's another new sport. There's all these new things that are going on. And but one of the things is like with sports in St. Louis and how people, I mean, that's just a part of our community and part of most small communities is, everybody gathers around sports, their kids. And sometimes it's really serious, but most of the time it's really fun. And but I want to talk a little bit about St. Louis. So so you're a St. Louis guy, South City Hill on the hill.
Grew up right up the
And-
hill.
And then great neighborhood. And then you said you're not from St.
I'm a
Louis.
transplant. Well,
Okay.
not too far, southern Missouri area.
How many
but-
miles from St. Louis?
Oh, enough to where that was the big event was
To
us,
drive to St. Louis.
when we were
Yeah.
younger, the one time a year
Those
we'd
was
go to,
town.
Yeah, it was town. No, it was city.
That was
We're going
the
on
big city.
vacation.
Going to big city.
big
yeah.
city. Yeah, we'd get to go up to one Cardinal game or go to Six Flags once a year or something
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah. So stuff we take for granted living in.
Probably so.
So Chris, we'll start with you. So give us a little bit of an idea of stuff on your STL bucket list. So, you got the hill that you grew up around. You got all these great restaurants. Are there any specific places in town that you would put on your bucket list for people to, like, if somebody's coming to see you or if somebody's coming with you, like, what are those spots that, and then you can give some family spots too, stuff that you guys' family really likes.
And Chris, be open about it. I don't want you hiding things from the public here.
He's not telling because he doesn't want it
give
to
away the
blow
good
up.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That-
that's
I think you have to be, some of it's a little bit of your preferences. I love the hill. My mom still lives on the hill in the house I grew up in.
really,
And
that's amazing.
so from that perspective, not only does it have old school character, but it's also got new school character too. There's a lot of gentrification on the hill. So I can, Joya's, of course. I was at the young men who owned Joya's now, and I don't know if their mother's still alive. I hope she is.
I think she is. Alex Donnelly? The
Yeah.
Donnellys?
So I was buying Joy sandwiches with my dad from their grandma in the same building at Daggett and Macklin. So Joy's is of course a staple for me and
That
my
hot salami
family.
is so good with the carbonara. It's so good.
So, but Joy's fantastic. There's a cigar shop on the hill. I like cigars, so Hill Cigar Shop's a great place as well. And you still get a lot of folks that just it's like the old neighborhood. I still take my cars to the auto body shop across from the cigar shop. It's a perfect way to go get oil change, and I'll go have a cigar and then go back and get oil change. And
while you're waiting,
I used to say to a couple buddies of mine, my perfect day is I'd start off at Missouri Bakery and get like a drop cake or a cannoli or something like that, and have a cup of coffee. I would go to a cigar shop and smoke a cigar. Then I would drive over to Fairmount like on a Tuesday and bet the horses. And then when I was done with that on Tuesday, I might end up at a Cardinal game on Friday night or that night, Tuesday night. And the Cardinal game, I would actually drive down. I would go to Tony's right across from the ball game. I would drop off my car. I'd pay the valet $20. They'd go park my car. I'd walk into the back of Tony's and have a burger, walk out across the street into the right field, go watch the ball game, go back out, get my car. And then maybe the night would end. I guess it depends on where you go from there. But that's to me that was a great St. Louis perfect day. We have so many great restaurants. There's new, young, and old. I mean, I can probably name more old ones that I wish were still around. But there's a lot of great restaurants. And
that was a great St. Louis day. That was a throwback. Yeah, you're like, man, I want that day. I don't know if you had that day.
I haven't had that day in a while. I haven't had somebody would want to tag along with me, all my kids or something. But I haven't had that day in a while. But that would be.
What about your kids? Like, was there a spot the family would all go to that you guys really loved or any?
With the older kids, when we lived in the city, Parkmore was kind of cool. Before they, as my then 7-year-old said, wrecked it down. But Parkmore was cool. Joy's was always kind of a staple as well. And
the Parkmore Webster.
Parkmore was on Clayton, right by Fontbonne, like Washington, area. So, also as kids, I tell you what, in the pandemic, I found myself driving to Lone Elk Park, and driving through Lone Elk Park, we'd go get ice cream and drive through Lone Elk Park. Probably did it once a week.
Wow.
Because there wasn't a whole lot to do and wasn't a lot to go. And here we are.
You're like, we got to get these kids out of the house.
Yeah, let's go count elk. Let's go look for buffalo. And every once in a while see something else. And so Lone Elk was always cool from that standpoint. Tower T, Highlands. I mean, we grew up going there all the time. Yeah. And man, if I had time to actually think about the list would be.
You're not
that's why I try not to tell
amusement
people.
Park, right?
The Highlands videos. There was a Highlands video game place that was, now I'm really showing my age.
Okay.
That was on Chippewa. That's long been gone from there. But that was when the arcade style games were a big deal.
Oh yeah, there's a few good arcades.
It's been a little while.
But yeah, I usually tell people the list. But if you tell them in advance, they bring this novel of things because they don't want to leave any. They're like, oh, I
don't want to offend anybody. We got a lot of really close friends of Vetta and people have been around us for a long time that we all support their businesses.
Of course,
Joe Smagala's got multiple restaurants. Tilford Brothers have.
Now you got to name everybody.
Yeah. Now I got to name. I'd have to name 30 more, and I'll get trouble from people when they hear this.
Of course.
So I apologize to all of you.
No, it's all good. But Tyler, so you being a transplant, when did you move to St. Louis?
I came up here for wrestling at Merrimack, and I moved up here in 2001.
Nice.
And yeah, like I said, my buddy had the interview and he ended up not being able to take the job. And they said, what about you?
So you were over in Kirkwood at Merrimack? Yep.
Yeah. So my bucket list, I mean, first of all, I'll say Vetta since Chris didn't say that. Vetta Sports would be on my St. Louis bucket list, of course. But other than that, my favorite donut place is Donut Drive-In. I love that one. It's classic.
They got a new one now. They got the Southampton one,
that's
but
right.
They got the Brentwood one.
And then I'm a big pizza guy. So I love, all the different pizzas that there are. I'm not as big on the St. Louis style pizza, but I do like, Uncle Leo's is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good spot. And the Blackthorn, of course.
Yep.
You got to call ahead
City
and get that
Gym.
deep dish, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you got to really call ahead. You
gotta
can't do any online ordering or nothing. But there's some good pizza. There's some just some unique. You're talking about the Hill. There's all these new spots, but what about a date night spot? Because you're not getting pizza on a date night. Maybe
date night. You know what? there's nothing better than going to the Tenderloin room at the Chase.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
if you're going for nice steak
They do,
dinner
like,
date
the
night, it's
smoked
that
cocktails,
it's that
everything.
classic look. It's a beautiful place. If you go during the holidays, it's all done up for Christmas. My wife loves doing that one, so that's a good spot to go to. Other than that, gosh, a good date night spot. You know what? Gosh, what's the one? I can't think of it now. Oh, Evangeline's over in
The
Central
New
West
Orleans
End.
Bistro.
Yeah, New Orleans style.
Yeah.
They've got some great shrimp and grits.
They have jazz like every Sunday.
Yes,
got
they
a
do.
Sunday brunch.
They
with
do the
jazz.
Sunday brunch, but they also have some great night.
I want to go to
late
brunch,
night.
man. I haven't been to brunch since I had a baby.
gotta
Somebody
have-
told me that's the last
will-
time you
kids
ever
will do
go to
that.
brunch.
You got to bring the baby to brunch.
Like, when's the next time you're going to be day drinking at brunch when you get a little baby? I mean, I got to get a full babysitter all day long. Somebody literally told me that. Josh Allen from Companion Baker, he was on here a couple weeks ago, and he's like, brunch. He's like, I haven't been to brunch in 30 years because he had a kid 30 years ago. And he's like,
We've just been reintroduced to brunch. in my
yeah,
house.
it's been
'cause
fun,
now,
I'm sure.
Yeah, we have every kid doing something during
Yeah.
the day. So
And they all can
brunch is
drive
an
and do their own
option.
thing.
Yeah.
I think a fun spot. Last year at one of my kids' birthdays, we just went into the outdoor patio. It was a winter time, but it was nice.
Mhm.
Went to the outdoor patio at McGurk's and just
Mhm.
had like family birthday party there. We took over
Yeah.
the whole corner of the room. Just my group takes over the whole corner, but we had invited some some in-laws and stuff like that. And for me, McGurk's is. I had I've been drinking at McGurk's since I'm going to say 21.
There you
Yeah,
go.
since you were 21. So the
Yep.
Soulard
Absolutely
one is probably
21,
one of the
so.
best patios in the entire like Midwest. Like I don't think
Yeah,
there's a patio
It's a
like
great
that.
feel, and I think what
Yeah, it
people
feels
don't
so good
realize
there.
sometimes, even about McGurk's though too, is their food is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good,
Yeah.
and it's just it's a great feel. We went there in between on from our wedding. We went there in between the reception and there.
Yep.
Kind of hung out. So
That's a good
for
spot.
my family, it's
Tell me
been
you had a
pretty good
Catholic wedding
staple.
without
Yeah.
telling me you had a Catholic wedding.
Isn't it a true story?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's a very true story.
So yeah, McGurk's has always been a cool state. There's so many neat places in St. Louis though.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
You just love to like think about where
Mhm.
going hanging out at or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And they match moods. They match tones, like
Mhm.
seasonality and things like that. There's just different stuff that I would only do like either in the winter or
Mhm.
in the summer or the
Right.
fall or the
Well, it's
spring.
the tradition
So-
stuff. Like we rode the ferry from St. Charles to Grafton. Like that's a
Yeah.
tradition for us is just to take the ferry across the river, go to the loading
Absolutely.
dock.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But you mentioned cigar shops. You got to go to. Have you been to Lit yet? Lit Cigar
Uh-huh.
in Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great spot.
Well, the guys that were working at, there was one gentleman, I can't remember his name. He was working at Hill Cigar.
Yeah.
Is out there doing that. I remember seeing him not
Yeah.
too long after I was out there.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
quite a few. There's some great cigar shops in St. Louis. There's Aiello's out in Cottleville.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Triple Leaf Cigar over on Manchester,
Mhm.
and then Hill Cigar,
Yeah.
and then the Lit. Those are
Yeah.
four.
What's down there
doozies,
on Wash
so.
Ave Stanley's is downtown.
Yeah, I haven't been to that one
Yeah.
downtown, but that's a neat community
Mhm.
cigar. It's one thing I like about cigar shops is for me, it's a little bit like going to Vetta. You're going to meet somebody, they're probably going to be interesting, and it'll be an interesting story. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many stories at cigar shops. I mean, it's like you could just stick around for a half an hour just to listen to another story.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
No, the Hill Cigar. I used to live over on Southampton, and the Hill Cigar Code. Before my wedding, I went there and got like 10 cigars for all my guys, and
Yeah.
and they're just, it's just like the ultimate shop. Like the new
Yeah.
ones are nice. Like they got these huge rooms, but like that one, you're just tucked. The
Right.
guy that's working sitting on the patio, and then he has to go inside real
Right.
quick,
Yeah.
and that's how it was
No,
when I
that's-
went there. He was
exactly,
sitting on the
right.
patio smoking in the
No, it's a
front.
great
That's when you
community.
know it's a good
There's-
cigar
yeah.
shop.
Yeah, there's a great community there. But yeah, I can't think. I mean, I was trying to, when you were talking about date night, I couldn't really think of anything I didn't already
You know,
state.
as far as like
as
date
far as
nights too,
date's concerned.
I love seeing a movie at the High Point Theater.
Yeah,
That's a good
Yeah.
one too, because especially the night before Thanksgiving every year,
Yeah.
they play Trains, Planes, and Automobiles,
really.
which is a classic Thanksgiving
know
movie.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
You're a
such
big Thanksgiving guy.
I'm a big movie buff. And
First
yeah.
it was turkey episode.
Oh yeah, we talked a little WKRP in
Yeah.
Cincinnati turkeys before.
It's
Uh,
that time of year. We're only
watch
a month
it.
away.
So although food is very exciting for me, and we're big foodies. That's why we started this whole thing. But
Yeah.
I want to kind of talk about sport and mental health. So we partnered up with Birch Tree Recovery. They're a local mental health facility here. They help with a lot of different things. They have a lot of different services. But I wanted to ask you guys. I mean, is there a instance in your life where this sport or Vetta or that has helped with your own personal mental health?
Yeah. I'm a huge advocate for mental health. If you ever feel like you're struggling or anything, there's no shame, there's no judgment. You need to, take that leap and go out there and talk to somebody. But going through counseling myself through years, learning to channel this into sport. Some of my worst days that I've ever had were just made better by going out and either participating in an activity or being able to go out and like coach an activity, going out, pushing that aside or being able to channel that into a positive, making somebody else's day, making somebody else's moment or memories better on that day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's therapeutic. It's your moment of zen. It's a chance to turn off any of the noise or distractions and go out there and just enjoy something that's pure. And that's, whether it's you participating in the sport or facilitating somebody else's growth in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Great answer. Well, I appreciate you guys for coming on. I mean, it's like I said, it's a St. Louis story of Vetta, and you guys have both been there for 20 plus years, 30, 40, almost 40 years now coming up. So in 3 years,
it sounds it's approaching quickly.
Time is flying. But for those that are interested in learning more, so like I said, we have a lot of young listeners. We have a transplant group of listeners. How can they get in touch with you guys? What's the website? What's the social medias? How can they stay up to date?
Well, that's going to be vettasports.com. That's VETTA sports.com. Also, we're pretty active on social media. We do have our Instagram, our Facebook pages, all the typical channels. We also have social groups on Facebook for soccer players. So if you're looking to find a team or find a sub, we do have groups on there for that and for pickleball as well. Mm-hmm. So, and if nothing else, just come into the facility. It's going to be some nice, welcoming people that are going to be happy to have you there. Mm-hmm. Whether you're doing hockey, soccer, pickleball, whatever, you're not going to get turned away. People are going to want you there, and we're going to make sure that you have a good time while you're there.
Yeah, and just about any program as an adult, you're going to see probably a button on the website that tells you, do a free trial. Go do a free trial, sign up. Someone will contact you back, say, hey, where you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to try?
Right.
And we'll get you going that way and then try to find the right spot for you. And that's the path of least resistance.
Yeah, click the button.
Try doing something for free.
Click the button. I like that you guys have real people calling though, because all this whole doing everything online, you need the technology, but you also need the people to facilitate the technology.
Yeah, it's a people business. Yeah, I mean, technology is great. It's important, but we have to. You got to talk to people. We got to interact.
Exactly. Well, cool. I appreciate you guys for coming on, and we'll see you guys soon.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. See you guys next week.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.